Hello there.
Oh my God. Hello there, welcome back to my channel. My name's SKYMAN Universe, and your Star Wars quote for today. You are right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short. A great Star Wars quote. Leave your quotes down below for the next video. And today we're going to be reacting to the final episode of Kenobi. I cannot believe we are here already. I mean, how did that even happen? It seemed like yesterday we just got our first episode and we're already here at the finale. So I don't know if this is going to lead on to another series. Maybe it will. Obviously there's still time span between now and episode 4, but this episode, coming off the last episode, which I thought was brilliant. I loved the last episode so much. There's so many things which I loved about that. The music, the vibe, the story, Kenobi, the Reva story I really liked as well. Vader just flexing his force powers. I thought that was awesome because the one thing I've always seen is his, Force Unleashed, Star Killer, his apprentice. He was so powerful. And in my mind, that Darth Vader should be sort of on par, if not more, than that. So to see him just, grab ships out and slam them down and just fighting Reva using the Force, I thought was just brilliant. Not even igniting his lightsaber. That was very well done, I thought. And her story of her being a youngling and she doesn't fit in the Empire. That's why she acts irrational and that she's not a good person either because she's got too much resentment in her. I thought that sort of payoff for her character is really good. Now, this is the thing. This is the problem with TV shows, because if you were sitting through a movie, then you would have a chance where you'd actually see the beginning to the end and you'd see the full arc of Reva and you wouldn't think anything of it. Because it's a TV show, her acting irrational earlier on and shouting and screaming, for me, you speculate things in a TV show will give you enough time to not connect with the character as you would with a film. So there's things in that like that which I don't know if are taken into account when they're making these shows. Because after episode 5, I thought, yeah, that's great. I actually really like the Reva character now, whereas before I was really struggling to like her. So that's purely because of the character development in there. But that aside, I absolutely loved so much when the Grand Inquisitor just sort of smugly popped up at the end. I don't know why, that just sat with me really well. I thought it was really funny, humorous, and just what the Inquisitors and Empire are all about. So I thought those were really satisfying scenes. And to see Obi-Wan so basically use his full Force abilities, and he just pushes Reva out the door with ease, and he's fighting all the stormtroopers, and he seems calm, collective, and acting like a Jedi. I really liked just seeing Kenobi do all of that. But the thing which I absolutely loved the most, and I wonder if they're going to do it in this episode or something similar, is the Attack of the Clones flashbacks. That was... I've watched the episode, I think, 4 times, but the flashbacks I've watched pretty much every single day. I loved them so much. I thought it was a really special part, and just it worked so perfectly to intertwine the early beginnings and trainings, and it would show the reasoning behind Darth Vader's thinking now. So Obi-Wan is always sort of thinking about that, so is Vader, but Obi-Wan, being the Jedi Master, he's working against Anakin now, as opposed to teaching him, and I loved that so much. I thought that was really special. So glad they made something like that. But if we were to speculate about what could happen in this episode, well, it doesn't mean to say we won't get flashbacks, but Anakin could be more in his Revenge of the Sith attire and his look, and Obi-Wan as well. If they did that, that would be so special and so amazing. But one thing I noticed in the flashbacks for Kenobi just looks like how he does now, but they just smartened up his hair, but they kept the same length. They kept the same length beard as well, whereas in Attack of the Clones it's a lot shorter, and not as full, maybe. I don't know, so it wasn't matched perfectly, so I don't think they would go, Kenobi, let's just cut your hair for this scene. I don't think they'd do something like that, even though it'd be really cool to see Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan again. I watched Revenge of the Sith last night in preparation for this, and it got me so hyped, and I love Obi-Wan so much, and I really don't want this show to end. I just hope that after this episode, there's a satisfying enough conclusion for it to be like, yeah, we needed to see that for Kenobi, because there is a bit of a part of me which thinks everything we've seen so far, has it really developed Obi-Wan's character? Was it a story that we really needed to see? I hope that this episode includes something which justifies that completely, creates something magnificent, magical, heartfelt, emotional, all of those good things worthy of a great reaction and surprise, which gets me kind of excited, because, I mean, if you're coming from the last episode, means this episode has to be the best. It has to include something in there which is just epic. And I mean, you've got to have the showdown between Vader and Obi-Wan. And something that I was worried about to begin with was the not so great lightsaber choreography with Vader and Obi-Wan, but seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan fight in their flashbacks. And I bet, because of their training, I bet it's still up in their training from Nick Gillard. So I bet they sort of created some of their lightsaber fights there. I wouldn't put it past them if they did that, because some of the spins seemed very familiar, and that would have been really nice if they sort of taught the stunt guy that this is what we learned from Nick Gillard, because you can't really lose some of those moves. It's sort of muscle memory. So hopefully that fighting sort of enthusiasm and creativity has been added in, if there is going to be a duel between Vader and Obi-Wan. I mean, there's got to be right now. I mean, there's emphasis on Luke Skywalker in this episode. Hopefully there's going to be something with Qui-Gon as well. I mean, if I was just to guess and speculate what I'd like right now. And one thing, Reva was destroyed by Darth Vader. She's defeated. At what point are lightsaber stabs going to be taken seriously? Because at the moment, everyone's just coming back. It just, poor old Qui-Gon Jinn, it just makes his death seem a bit superfluous, really, a bit pointless. And yeah, I think if you're done in by Darth Vader, he has a different way of doing things, and you don't survive a Darth Vader attack. He knows what he's doing, so I hope they respect that. And Reva, who we know is definitely not going to be dead at this point, but her arc and character would be much more sad and heartfelt if that was her final journey in the last episode, and now it's just complete focus on Vader and Obi-Wan, and Vader just chasing Obi-Wan through the galaxy at this point. That would be really nice, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the writers couldn't do something like that for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, it just, I don't want to have the sort of disrespect for like lightsabers, because lightsabers are the most powerful weapon or handheld weapon in the galaxy. So yeah, you don't just survive something like so easily. Like everyone seems to be doing it. The Grand Inquisitor stab. No, it's just, yeah. But that's the only thing. I mean, I really want to see Aunt Beru in this as well. I want to see Uncle Owen. I want to see Luke. I want to see Qui-Gon. I want to see Yoda. I mean, these are a lot of hopes that I have for this episode, and part of me thinks that it's not going to happen whatsoever. But it'd be really nice if it did. It's strange because a part of me feels just a little bit nervous and quite sad as well that I don't really want this to end. And I really appreciate Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi and Hayden Christensen in there as well. I think it's been special, really nice to watch him, and it just shows that, yeah, how much we all love Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Ewan McGregor, who's playing him. I mean, it's really, really great, and the perfect callback to prequels. But I'm far too excited, as you can tell. I've talked on far too long. I feel like saying good luck or something, but good luck. Let's hope we enjoy it. That scene was awesome. I loved it. So was that. That was just as great. Youngling. That was so good.
Revenge does wonders for the will to live.
I love the Inquisitor. Yeah, like, obviously she's got to be alive. She can survive anything. So, this is the thing, the writers, they do her justice, but then they don't do her justice. And if she returns in this, then I'm not going to warm to her character as much as I have, or did in the last episode anyway, because it just seems a bit pointless. Why ever defeated by Vader if you had no intention of her dying. I can't believe we're here. Last episode. Tatooine. Good sign. Just one thing, Disney, please. Your next Disney park, Star Wars Land in Disneyland Paris, make it Tatooine. I will live there.
You want to say?
Yeah, where's Kenobi?
You can have what's left when I'm done.
Why? Why didn't they... Vader finished her off.
He's on.
How is it that she just knows everything, knows where to go? Well, that's yes. I like that. And I like the music too. I love that imagery so much. So Star Wars. Obi-Wan's just like, oh crap. We're screwed, all of us. Where's Tessie? Is that another farm-like, Earth-like planet?
I'm working on it, but those shields won't last forever.
How much time do you need?
How did this happen? We're smarter than this.
I'm scared.
I love little Leia. She's so cute. Oh my god.
Howdy.
Oh, for real.
Kid?
We need a new belt for the speeder.
Somebody broke.
I love that so much. Oh my goodness, young Luke Skywalker. And he's dressed just like Anakin as well.
You have my word.
Good, Hodger.
Another word of it. It's good enough for me.
Yes! Oh, that's so good. Oh no. That makes me so happy. I love it so much. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru with Mark Hamill approval of young Luke Skywalker. That is the question. That's so cool that we get Seema in there. I love that.
Well, I wasn't going to give you a blaster, Leia. You're 10 years old.
That's really special. I love the relationship between her and Obi-Wan.
Ends today.
Are you ready?
Oh my goodness, why tease us like that? I was getting shivers everywhere. Hey, when he says master, maybe it's Master Yoda as well. Didn't think about that. I mean, maybe that's the biggest tease, is Qui-Gon's not actually in it. He just keeps talking, trying to commune with him.
Just get started.
I like that guy, he's cool. And I love that shot so much more.
My lord, we must continue our pursuit of the insurgents.
Hello, Kenobi.
At once, Lord Vader.
When the Granny Krista's about to die in front of Kaden Jarrus, he's really scared of the thought of Darth Vader. Yet he's talking to him very normally there. He says there are some things worse than death.
It's gonna be okay.
So cool, so cool. Oh, Darth Vader in his tie. Good choice. Atmospheric looking. Star Wars looking. Good. You know what you must do, Obi-Wan. Imperial Shuttle. Perfect. I love that too. So many little things in here that do it right. Obi-Wan surely can sense that. Oh my god, this is happening. Please play the Imperial March in there though. And some Duel of the Fates or Anakin, Battle of the Heroes versus Kenobi. It's great to see some Imperial imagery. Epic. Epic. Just like when there's on Mustafar and Kenobi walks down.
Droid me, Obi-Wan.
I will do what I must.
Yes, and the stance. It's so cool seeing Vader move in a different way. Reva, go away. We're done with you now. She doesn't need to be there. That Obi-Wan should be there if anything. He should have sensed that and been there. I don't. Poor choice from the writers. Don't understand this. Seeing how easily she's taken on literally everyone. Both of those should be of no concern. Whoa!
But the weakness still remains. Is why you will always lose.
Obi-Wan won the duel, remember Vader? Bloody hell.
You have failed, Master.
Interesting. What the hell is this? It doesn't make sense considering how they built up Reva, that she can do anything. Why she can't take on both of them with ease. Obviously you might say, well, she's wounded by Darth Vader, but that's no excuse. Obi-Wan. There would have been a perfect spot for Qui-Gon or Yoda to speak to him. Why didn't they do that? It's funny, you could tell that these are not Nick Gillard moves at all. Whoa! Yes, Obi-Wan. The Disney Star Wars loves rocks so much. Wow. Obi. Hopefully the Tusken Raiders will deal with her. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh my god. Whoa. There's the helmet. Oh my goodness. This is scary. That is so scary.
Anakin is gone.
Whoa.
I am what remains.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it.
You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. The same way I will destroy you.
I can't believe what we're seeing.
And my friend.
That is so scary.
Obi-Wan! Obi-Wan!
Wow. I don't know what to say. That I've never thought I'd see something like that ever. Ever. And that was so scary as well. Now you're sensing it, everyone. This is wrong. This is all wrong. She doesn't need anyone else to convince her to be good. She can do it all herself. So Obi-Wan wasn't even there in time to look after him and save him, which to me is pretty ludicrous. And they're just happy with that. Like I said, they should have done a separate series with her. That'd been far more interesting. It just doesn't fit in now at this point. It seems like it's about her, not Luke or Obi-Wan. And you could trust her that she wouldn't come back to Tatooine and tell the whole Empire that you're there. Back to Mustafar though, pretty great.
Within range.
I just can say if we imagine you've got the Emperor.
Everything in our
Oh my goodness.
Agitated, my friend.
He will not evade me again.
I wonder if your thoughts,
Oh, I love that.
feelings for your old master have left you. If your past cannot be overcome,
I serve only you, my master.
Finally! Finally! Why did they wait so long to use that theme? Why? It works. It just works. I feel so pumped inside. To see him determined as the Emperor. And they've made him look like the Return of the Jedi Emperor as well. That's special.
All right.
She's cute.
I love it.
Said there were many ways to lead.
Looks like I was right.
If I'm going to do this, I'm going to...
Change things together.
So who is it today?
Obi-Wan.
Thank you.
Of course. You know where to find me.
Let's hope that day never comes.
Wait.
I think you're right. Kind-hearted. These are qualities that came from your mother. And fearless. Forthright. And these are gifts from your father. Both were exceptional people.
This feels so sort of end of Revenge of the Sith. It's so nice.
Will I ever see... Goodbye.
My princess. May the Force be with you.
That's cool. Don't let that be the end, please. He looks so awesome. Like, really, really cool. Obi. Time to move house.
You know, you were right.
Oh well. You want to meet him?
Hold it back, Skyman.
Hello there.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't believe they did that. That was brilliant. So good. I mean, still want to know Qui-Gon, but, you know, it's nice to see him, like, feel better in himself and sort of go to his house now. What was I just saying? No. No.
Master Qui-Gon.
Well, took you long enough.
Master Qui-Gon.
Obi-Wan, you just were not ready to see. Come on, you've got a ways to go.
Well, it's kind of a weird thing, but it's over. That's Kenobi. And I didn't think that I'd be feeling so emotional at the end. I think it's just because my love for the character and what he represents, what he's done in the prequels, just feels so I felt so bad for him there. I don't know why. And then, yeah, to see him say goodbye to Leia, which I thought was really heartfelt, really nice. I was getting a lot of Revenge of the Sith ending vibes from there, which was really good. The imagery looked perfect. And then to see him with Uncle Owen and see a change in him as well. And then to drop that line in there, the sacred, most holiest of Star Wars lines, was just utter genius and perfect. And I love that. And just that emotion, seeing him with the toy for Luke in his rucksack, you know, the one he flies around in New Hope. So that has just great meaning, subtle things like that. To see him sort of freshen up his Jedi robes, and he looks like that action figure, you know, the one which is a face half Alec Guinness, half Ewan McGregor, and he's got his backpack on, and he's obviously travelling to his home and his, you know, journey from where we know he is now in his heart and Tatooine. He's sort of more on the sidelines. It's sort of special, meaningful, because to me he sort of enters the realm where I've imagined where he would be, and it's still left to the imagination kind of as to what's happened between this long expansive period of time between this and A New Hope now, which I think is good. I think it's nice because if you think about this series as a whole, I'm very unsure how I feel about it, how I feel about the filmmaking. It's not so much, well, there is a lot of the story in there which I loved, and a lot of the story which I didn't love so much, and that coincides with the filmmaking of this as well. There's a lot of it which I love, like these scenes, the ending scenes, are really emotional, and I felt so connected to that, and I thought it was really special. But also there's lots where I felt disconnected from visually, and I think there's certainly a difference between how a movie would look and how this would look, because the TV shows that Star Wars are doing feel very much like TV shows throughout. And you think, well, one of the biggest movie franchises of all time, who you think has got an endless money pot, now owned by Disney, who feel like you've got the expenses to do whatever the hell they want, it still feels very like pioneering in a way, and sort of different. And that, especially after watching Revenge of the Sith yesterday and comparing that to, you know, this Kenobi show and other subsequent Star Wars things from Disney, there's a look that I swear I know George Lucas goes for. There's a specific look of realism within Star Wars which I don't think this Kenobi show has somewhat grasped or managed to achieve. There's some shots in there which are really nice, but it's not followed throughout. And I think this is the thing, George Lucas, he knows in his head what Star Wars is and how it should look and how it should feel. And I think where I've watched the prequels and the originals so many times, I've lived them, I've grown up with them, been obsessed with them, I see that is Star Wars. And now I'm trying to relive, recapture every single thing in that, which I suppose isn't good, but that's how I feel like it should progress, and it should have that vision and interest. And George Lucas pushed the boundaries. Sure, they've got the LED screen and things like that, but in the matter of sort of storytelling and pushing the boundaries via visual aspects, then, I mean, the pod racing, for example, that was pushed, the Mustafar duel that was pushed to the boundaries again, and the Clone Wars and Attack of the Clones, like it's always like this massive spectacle. I didn't get any sort of flavour of spectacle in the Kenobi show, more so that I was being reminded how it felt, how it would feel to film it a lot, which kills me to say it inside because I really wish this wasn't the case, but I did not connect with the Kenobi and Vader fight. I certainly felt creeped out and scared and eerie, which is perfect in a way because that's how Darth Vader should make you feel, and knowing and seeing Hayden Christensen in there was spectacular and scary as hell, and the fact that he brought an element of this Anakin where he said, I destroyed him, that's really, really creepy, and Obi-Wan coming to terms with that, it's kind of quite spooky, but I cannot help but feel that something to do with the lightsabers, like I said, I think where they've gone for whatever they used in the NeoPixel or something like that, I think they should probably just return back to the actual metal lightsabers they're using and fully CGI'd them. That probably would have been one element to them, because there's something about it, something about the clash, something about the movement, the fluidity. It doesn't feel like a lightsaber duel, and the movements they were subsequently using with these blades just didn't seem like they clashed right. Like, you could see it, just Ewan McGregor, how he used it, and Hayden Christensen behind the scenes look at it, studied, and then come to this, and there's something really off to me with the fighting, and whether that's the choreographer, I don't know. They nailed it in the scenes for the flashbacks for the sort of Attack of the Clones, pre-Attack of the Clones scenes, but in this, it didn't click with me, it didn't feel right, and I think where Vader landing on and it's a big open place again, it makes you think, it just feels unimaginative. Like, think of the duels that we've had in locations. What makes a duel spectacular is the atmosphere that is brought to them by the surroundings. So Phantom Menace is the top tier, on the Naboo platforms, and, Duel of the Fates is utter perfect and brilliant, and it heightens the duel because of these endless drops that you might fall down, and this magnificent spectacle. Attack of the Clones, it was in Dooku's hangar in this sort of cave, even though that was kind of basic inside, they played around with the lighting, they played around with the ceiling and everything else, and it was on this weird planet of Geonosis, which we know that's been a droid factory for goodness knows how long, so it's got a lot of meaning behind it. Revenge of the Sith, every single place, Chancellor Palpatine's office and Mustafar. I mean, can it get any more spectacular than that? The Death Star with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, best bit, carbon freeze chamber, and then out in the big cloud city, the Death Star again in Emperor Palpatine's throne room. I mean, these are epic places to have epic lightsaber duels, and what did we get here was just sort of, I think it was good in the episode 5 with Vader, sort of doing his duels there with Reeve and things, but I think in this, where he sort of lands, the imagery kind of looks good with the shuttle then Vader walking along, but at the same time, you could tell it's on that screen again. And I don't think it complements like the angles which you can get for a lightsaber duel. Everything seems, it's always sort of there on the ground, I don't know how to explain it. There's that element to it. There's the choreography which doesn't sit with me. There's a lightsaber connection and look. It doesn't, I don't know. That's just a prequel and original fan in me. I've always loved the sort of traditional aspect of lightsaber dueling, and the master who taught Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker, I can't remember his name, but I think he did Pirates of the Caribbean too, and then followed on with Nick Gillard as well. That's the forms that you should be following. That old school traditional thing. All this modern, it looks like a modern fan film going for sort of different angles, and I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's just how it sort of sits in my brain. And that's how I see things. It's just, if you're a massive, for a casual Star Wars fan, I'm sure that was spectacular and amazing, but for a really in-depth, obsessed, knows everything Star Wars fan, then that's something that I'd pick up and notice a little bit. And that's where I think the filmmaking of this needs more studying on George Lucas and his film style in order to preserve that Star Wars look and feel. Now, sure, for a TV show, then maybe it's not necessary. That if it was a movie, then I'd be very sort of I'll be noticing it quite a lot. But for a TV show, I mean, it's a different look, it's a different style. A TV show is not meant to be like a movie, and I think Star Wars is always meant to be movies and not quite so much. I think animated TV shows are perfect, but I think live action should have been a movie. Should this have been? Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about Qui-Gon, by the way. Should this have been a movie? Probably, I think it should have been. Was this extended unnecessarily for a TV show and drawn out in places? Then yes, I think there was a lot in here where it didn't really need to be in there. And there was a lot of moments in there which were amazing, and that could have really been compressed and made into quite an exciting movie if tweaked a little bit, and that would have been a lot more satisfying to me. I think it makes me sad because the age of Star Wars movie is something which I think not really George Lucas would have wanted. The movies seem sort of dead, and I think the sort of whole element of a TV show, obviously they're trying to build up Disney Plus and things, which is good and great to have more Star Wars content, but at the cost of art, and Star Wars is different from that. It's sort of Marvel, I could see churning out all the TV shows and everything that I think works in the movies all the time, but Star Wars needs a little bit of time, a little bit of thinking time, because it's Star Wars. I don't know how to explain it, but I think it would have been really cool still to have a movie. It would have been a lot more fulfilling, and I think there would have been a lot more interests put in different places, like the lightsaber locations, and less reliance on the LED screen, which I think is utterly amazing and is incredible in the forefront for filmmaking for this current age. But I hope that the use of green screen isn't really forgotten in Star Wars, because it does bring characters to amazing locations in a different way that the LED screen would. Clever it may be, but I don't know, maybe that's just a personal preference for me. If I'm being, one of the things I want to do with my reactions, I'm just brutally honest of how I feel. If I love something, I love it. If I don't love it, it's not something, I hate it so much and I shouldn't have done that. But I try to understand why they've done it and see if there could be a sort of difference in there. But those are the sort of technical things out the way there. The story, I think, I still stand by what I said with Reva. I don't think she should have been in this final episode, and that was poor decision by the writers for me, because that wasn't a conclusive end. If anything, Reva on her final moments there should have had Obi-Wan sort of feeling guilty and insist that he escapes the ship, or somehow undercover, and he goes back to look after Reva or be with her or something. I think that would have been really heartfelt, and she could have done something, said things to Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan could have comforted her. I think that would have been a lot better and would have focused more on Obi-Wan. But her sort of going around the homestead was not... No, I don't think that was right. It was so unnecessary, and it was almost as if they had to put her in there and didn't know what to do with her. So it diminishes her character again. The final moment in there with her being at the homestead and then her going off into the galaxy, she can't be trusted at all. Like, from what we've seen so far, if I was Obi-Wan, I'd be like, oh, hell no. Oh no, I'm not letting you go around in the galaxies after seeing what you've done. You know, and then Uncle Owen would be thinking the same thing as well. Do you think he would let her go after just threatening Luke like that? It doesn't make any sense to me, and that is the poor sort of decisions and writing that really got in the way of this show being really a lot better than what I think it was at the moment. It could have been really good in places, but it's sort of subpar again. through decisions like that. But yeah, it doesn't mean I still think she should have had her own standalone film where it focuses on the Inquisitors TV show. I would love to see, I still want to see that. All the Inquisitors there, how they came into be, see their training, and how they all scramble for power to be the Grand Inquisitor, and how they go off on their missions to do stuff. Seeing how dark they got with this show in places, I mean, why wouldn't they have done something like that? It would have been far more better, and something original as well, which would have been quite nice and a breath of fresh air, as opposed to try to shoehorn all this in on Kenobi where it didn't need to. It's like they're almost too scared to bring in these new things which they've created by themselves as their own entity. For me, I would love to see some original ideas, and Reva, I actually would have loved to see her in her own series with all the Inquisitors. That would be so much more fun and enjoyable, but it's the writer's fault for putting her in here because, or whoever's decision it was, because it's drawn the attention away from Kenobi for me, where it comes more to a point where she's a hindrance for me enjoying Obi-Wan, because I'm like, I want to see Obi-Wan, and I don't really care about Reva at this point. But if she was in her own show, then I'd be 100% committed in seeing her. That's how I would have done that. But still a sort of missed opportunity there. But story-wise, yeah, sure, it's weak in places, but it was also strong in a lot of places too. And yeah, the ending, I think, was actually its strength, and it sort of made me think how much I invested in young Leia, Bail Organa, and Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and connected me to the prequels, which I haven't really seen in anything else before. And I personally love that Ewan McGregor did this, and I feel so happy for him and Hayden Christensen, and the fact that they're included and they were brought back and they wanted to do this and they brought new depth to their characters. It's just so nice to see them together, and it's such a callback to prequel era, which I love so much. And I think the way it was ended there was like, it doesn't really tarnish. If that was the ending there and they didn't have like a nice ending, the ending was after Vader and stuff, then I think that doesn't sit right with me. But then going to Tatooine, having those nice moments in there, it felt Star Warsy and nice and emotional and thought out, and it sort of gives plenty of room for Obi-Wan to transform into Ben Kenobi, and I really like that. So to have Qui-Gon Jinn turn up there, Qui-Gon to me is like the mentor of all the Jedi for me, and he grew up in an age where his sort of decisions and way of doing things was always noted by my decisions when I was doing things. And I think being a massive Star Wars fan, something that you love, you sort of connect with someone, a character, characters, whatever, and they can define decisions that you make and define who you are. And Qui-Gon certainly was someone that when I was younger, as someone who I aspired to be, as someone that was wise, and also as Obi-Wan as well. So to have him in there, I think it was kind of quite nice to have him built up, and it was almost teased throughout. But then to have him turn around, he's got a slightly longer beard as well, because Force Ghosts can grow beards as well. It was really special, and it was, even though it was like it wasn't so much like Qui-Gon Jinn, it was kind of like Liam Neeson just turning up. But I just love it so much. I wouldn't say anything, because the fact that I saw him and Qui-Gon Jinn and I could see them together, and it's such a massive thing for Obi-Wan. He's no longer alone. He's got his old master, his past, someone that he must have resented all these years for losing, and he's there, and he's always been with him and gonna help him through his journey. That's really special. If they focused on another series where you wouldn't really need the action or anything like that, it would be more on a forced journey, a bit like Yoda in the last episodes of the Clone Wars, where he's going on his journey to become a Force Ghost. If Obi-Wan went on something as well under guidance of Qui-Gon, I would love that so much. A mysterious, mystical Force journey that he goes on, and Qui-Gon guides him, and Yoda. That would be really nice, but I don't think they'll do that because he looks like his character has risen above the trials and tribulations he had within himself at the beginning. So he seems a lot more like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there. Now at the end, so maybe it's good to sort of call it an end, sort of draw the line. And the Emperor as well, I loved. Words can't describe. Seeing the Emperor and Qui-Gon Jinn was just the best for me. And seeing the Emperor, which you'll notice with his prosthetics or makeup, whatever they did, they've got the Return of the Jedi Emperor sort of big bag lines this time round. It's not as Revenge of the Sith Emperor looking, it's the older Emperor looking, and I really appreciate that. And Ian McDermott in there playing the Emperor too, that's just incredible and amazing, and makes perfect sense for him to pick up on Vader saying, your obsession with Vader has weakened you, my apprentice. You know, that is good. Sort of focus, making sure he doesn't lose sight of who he is and what he's doing for the Empire, and stop obsessing over Obi-Wan, which is good because that gives him enough time for their next meetup. I think it all makes sense, really, the way they speak, Ben and Vader, that enough time is spent between them. He still refers to Obi-Wan as his master like he did with the rocks. I think I'm pretty reasonably happy with that. And the Emperor sort of reminded Vader, his presence there was, what he's doing, which I really loved. And finally, the Imperial March, with him sitting there and then Vader in his throne, and now it's like the reign of the Empire. This is sort of the reign of the Empire time for me, whereas not concerned about Obi-Wan, this is them gaining control of the whole galaxy. So the Jedi are done. In a way, I sort of feel done with the Jedi, which is a strange thing to say, but I feel completed in a way. I'm sort of done with thinking about what happened to it, because I feel satisfied, especially with the flashbacks. But I think I'm ready for the Emperor era to rise, and a more sort of calmer and in control Empire, with a lot more Imperial March and things, and looking awesome with the Imperial officers, etc. Yeah, that's the era which I'm sort of happily that's in my head now. I've always sort of been in between Revenge of the Sith and the New Hope, and I think this is connected in a really cool way, and it sort of evolved me a little bit, which I feel very satisfied about, if that makes sense. You might be feeling the same thing there as well. But yeah, I think for the future of Star Wars, I feel ready for them to create something new, and create something new for movies, and if they could retcon somehow the sequels and create something new and interesting. Hopefully they're savvy and clever with what they do with Ahsoka, and use that for them to go on and create some movies with new characters. I just want them to create something original, which would be there in a way that all the other original Star Wars has been there for us, and I want it to add on and not be anything to do with real life or anything like that. I want it to be immersive and be the perfect escapism, as Star Wars should always be. And there's so much positive outlook that could come from Star Wars. I just hope that it's always going to be utilized in the right way. There's so many things along this journey where I've seen Lucasfilm attacking their fans on social media, and it just looks so petty and really strange. And I just hope that in the progression of Star Wars, that it goes back to being a storytelling company creating epic stuff, and not sort of being involved with petty stuff which they perceive is going on, or being in with the times. Star Wars is a breakaway thing which doesn't need to be concerned or worry about that. Just create Star Wars, and yeah, the future would be bright. Something I'm very, very, very much looking forward to. I saw a leaked thing on YouTube. I didn't even know this existed in Star Wars Celebration, but there's a Clone Wars animation, and it's happening or just before or at the beginning of the Clone Wars. So there's a lot of early Count Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn and a bit of Ahsoka Tano, which looks incredible. And what a great idea to do, to see sort of the fall of Count Dooku. That would be amazing. So that's entering a realm which sounds very exciting. And in the Clone Wars style, which is brilliant, and brilliant for TV as well. I'm very much looking forward to Andor and hoping that's going to be, because they say every episode's like a movie, so I'll be very interested to seeing that. I'm looking forward to Andor, and I'm also looking forward to Bad Batch. I'm looking forward to whatever that Clone Wars series is called as well, Ahsoka. I mean, I'm looking forward to it all. But yeah, SKYMAN, you've gone on for far too long. This is the problem when I watch these shows. I could probably talk here for hours about it. But tell me everything that you thought about this show, what you thought about this episode. If there's anything you would have done differently about it, let me know that down below as well. It'd be great to see what you thought of this whole series and whether you think it was worth it or not, if it's built upon Kenobi for you, if it's sort of taken away a bit of Kenobi there, or if it didn't need to be told. I'm certainly in favour for all the good bits. They definitely need to be told and added, but I think it was stretched out, and this could probably have been condensed within 3 episodes, maybe 3 1-hour-long episodes. That would have been quite enough, I think, and condensing it all would have been quite good. And there's a lot of this which I think really didn't need to be in there and just didn't serve any purpose whatsoever. The limelight wasn't purely focused around Obi-Wan Kenobi, and yeah, that could have been done a bit better. There's so much of this which I loved, but there's so much which I would have changed, and I don't think was made in a way which I would have made it, and more respectful to Star Wars and the story and Obi-Wan Kenobi. I would have gone for full-on prequels vibes with hints and sprinkles of the Empire and the originals on there. I would have done it very musically. I think the music has been extremely weak, except it's funny when the John Williams theme, Obi-Wan theme comes on, because it's like it turns into Star Wars for a second and then it disappears into something else, and the music has not supported the sheer epicness of Kenobi and what these stories hold for the characters. Musically, it needed to be a John Williams style orchestral masterpiece with plenty of Imperial March in there and Star Wars stuff that wouldn't have gone amiss at all. So if they included that would have heightened it so much more. I think in summary, I don't know how to feel about this series. If it was something that I would watch again, I know that Nick Gillard's there not doing this, and I know George Lucas isn't there doing this, and it just, that will always make me feel sad, because I think George Lucas would have done the Jaws in a very different way and in a more epic scale. And yeah, there's a difference there. And the lightsaber Jaws is something which every single day where I walk somewhere, I've got one of the Jaws in my head, and I've done that since I was a kid, which is really strange. But something like that, which is so important, I would love to have seen a more George Lucas vision for this series. But yeah, that's how I feel about this, and I cannot change what I feel. There is elements of disappointment in there, but elements of complete joy and happiness. So take that as however you want, and work out how I feel, because I'm not even sure. I think I probably need more time to simmer and think about it, and then I'll get back to you at another point. But yeah, those are my initial reactions. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the series and going through all this together. I've really enjoyed doing it with you as always, and watching it with Star Wars fans is probably one of my favourite things to do. And all Star Wars reactions are just the best, and I love the callbacks between earlier Star Wars stuff, because it's very sentimental to me and nostalgic, and seeing new things come to pass as well. So I love it so much. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed all my reactions. If you like this video, give it a like. If you're not subscribed, then join us. Take care of yourself, and remember, the Force will be with you always.